Ladies and gentlemen, it's exactly 11 a.m. East African time. Good morning from wherever you are, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Levi Mnei, and the topic that we're going to handle in today's webinar is corporate allocation with Infor SunSystems. We'll be having 4 specific agendas that we are handling as far as this webinar is concerned. Number 1, we are going to talk about who we are as FlagZem. Number 2, also we are going to have an overview of the Infor corporate allocations module. We're also going to have a demo. And lastly, having a session for Q&A. We are going to get an opportunity for you just to raise your question. And of course, you can able to use the tap icon for raising the hand or the chat section. And we are going to get back to you. On to the first agenda of this webinar about who we are as FlagZem. FlagZem is an IT consulting company that partners with like-minded entities such as Infor and Sage to provide business management software solutions. As FlagZem, we have over 13 years of experience with a clientele base of over 80 customers. We operate in East Africa and beyond. That's why we have our office located both in Nairobi, Kenya and Kampala, Uganda. As FlagZem, customer satisfaction and service delivery is a priority. And that's why apart from having a dedicated customer support, we also do training services to our clients. And of course, this has made possible by a team of professional staff who are working with us. We have the following services that we offer as FlagZem. We do IT consultancy and training. We also do software development. We have a forte in learning. On to our products that we offer as FlagZem and are currently in the market. We have with the following products. Number 1 is Infor SunSystems, which basically is a modern, comprehensive financial accounting management solution that's basically designed to help international enterprises and fast-growing companies to handle complex financial activities. The second product is Infor Operating Services, commonly known as Infor OS, and this serves as a platform for digital transformation. It's a central point for an enterprise ecosystem where you can be able to automate, anticipate, predict, and also inform stakeholders in all the things they do. The next product is Infor Enterprise Asset Management. Its core focus is keeping an accurate, detailed database of all the fixed assets, including the characteristics, history, performance, as well as any regulatory-related documents. The next product is Infor Dynamic Enterprise Performance Management, commonly known as DEPM, and it's a performance management platform specifically designed to improve operational performance. And this way you can be able to handle all the complex activities associated with planning, budgeting, forecasting, reporting, in addition to consolidating and analyzing financial performance using just one single solution. The next product is Infor ERP, commonly known as Satline, and this is an end-to-end ERP solution that provides comprehensive functionality that is suitable for any process mode, that is from make to stock, and also make to order, and engineer to order. The next product is e-procurement system, which it's our in-house system built and designed by our able team and can be integrated seamlessly with the financial management system. It is very flexible and can be customized to meet your needs and requirements. This product allows you to procure, plan, and also generate POs electronically. That is through the web interface. And this eliminates paperwork of manual system, thus optimizing the procurement process. The next product is a customized solution for business and organization. As FlagZem, we do software development for any business and organization, depending on the area of need. When you have an idea, we listen to it and we come up with a solution to make sure that we provide for it. Next product is Sage Financial, HR, and Payroll. For more information about our products, feel free. You can either visit our offices, both in Kenya and Kampala, Uganda. And also you can make a call to us by the phone number displayed on your screen. You can also send an email to us, that's at info@flagzem.com, or you can also visit our website, that is www.flagzem.com, or you can also engage us on our social media platform, that is from Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. At this juncture, allow me to welcome my colleague, Wycliffe, who is going to take us through the next presentation. Wycliffe, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Levi. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wycliffe, and I'll be taking us through the overview of Infor capital allocation module, and also we'll have a brief demo on the same. So maybe I believe most of us use SunSystems, and if you are new to SunSystems, like Levi explained, Infor SunSystems is a financial management system that provides a unique range of features that are designed to give organizations greater efficiency and improved control of their business processes. So the SunSystems is basically has two suites of modules. That's the financial and the order fulfillment. So the core module is the financial accounting, which is the general ledger. So there you can be able to manage your general ledger. And of course, under finance, we also have the fixed asset, which manages the assets for any organization. But today we are going to focus more on the capital allocation. I believe many users or many people or organizations, they rarely use it. It is also there to provide better features or to make your work even much better and easier. Yeah, so we also have the order fulfillment. We have the purchase order management, inventory management, and sales. Yeah, which will also have a overview of the same later on, maybe during the year. So I'll just go straight to capital allocations. So I would like us first to understand what capital allocations is. So capital allocations module will allow users to be able to generate new transactions from existing ledger transactions. So this is a tool where you can be able to come up with new transactions based on what you have posted in your system. You can be able to use that to make adjustments, and post to the ledger automatically without having to do that manually. So you can use it to split and reassign expenses and other transactions using predefined criteria. You can allocate amounts across periods, accounts, analysis codes, and business units. Charges can be split, increased, or decreased. So capital allocations generates and posts ledger transactions, so you could achieve the same result by entering a manual journal using ledger entry. So however, by using capital allocation, you can automate the apportionment process and repeat it each period as often as we require. Yeah, so as you can see, it is very, it's very easy and faster to be able to automate some of the processes that you usually do, maybe using Excel. Most of the time, I believe many people, they decide to perform some calculations or statistical, calculations on data in Excel, and thereafter you prepare a journal that you post to the system. So some of those, for as long as there is a predefined criteria, you can be able to automate that process using capital allocations. So capital allocations is very useful. So in most cases, users use it to apportion expenses. For instance, you can, let's say in your organization, you have posted an amount to an expense account as a total. So it may be necessary to apportion the total expense to each relevant cost center to reflect each cost center's operation cost accurately. So this is done in a variety of ways. You can be able to apply a percentage, you can apply ratios, and you can still apply fixed amounts, as we are going to see. So you can use this also to process intercompany costs. So if you want to apportion costs to maybe subsidiary organizations that are part of your organization, you can use this feature to automate that process. So the allocations and charges can be made across business units. So in SunSystems, when you have subsidiaries, we create them as business units. So you can be able to automate a process where you allocate costs across the different business units. And the allocation postings can be placed on a transfer file. I believe you all understand transfer file, where you can be able to upload a transaction to SunSystems using the transfer files for distribution to remote sites where they are posted using ledger import. You can also calculate commissions. Yes, here you are able to generate and post commissions or any other derived values. And here you can be able to set a threshold, which is applicable, when you are selecting your transaction that is in the sources, and you can be able to determine the level of commission to apply. So you can automate that process instead of using ledger entry. You can also use corporate allocation to calculate interest charges. So the same way you do commissions, you can also do the same using capital allocation for interest charges. If you charge maybe interest on loans for your staff or maybe for your customers, you can be able to automate that process using capital allocation. So there you can be able to use the average balance in the accounts of those staff or customers. And of course, you'll have a ratio, or maybe there's a way you can define the statistics that's going to help you to make the calculation so that you can be able to get the exact or generate the exact figures that you want to post to the accounts. You can use it to uplift budgets. So there you can take the actuals for your source. And of course, from these actuals, you can be able to maybe increase or decrease. That's the way you want to define your ratios. And then from there, you can be able to generate the transactions and post to the budget. Remember, in SunSystems, we have the different ledgers. So actual is one of the ledgers, which is the default, but you can be able to set up other ledgers up to 10. You can have revenue, you can have budget. So in those ledgers, you want to generate transaction from one ledger to another. You can automate such a process using corporate allocation. You can use it to measure performance, and also you can use it in activity-based costing. So maybe to help us understand what you're talking about here when it comes to corporate allocations, I have a few examples here to help us understand the idea, and maybe from there we can be able to also reflect maybe in organizations where we can be able to apply the same. Let's say, for instance, we want to allocate a fixed amount of $5,000 of the marketing cost to international sales division. So in this scenario, you can see you have a fixed amount, and this amount is supposed to be allocated to the international sales division. But now the amount has been posted to the marketing cost. So you can be able to identify the source, which is the marketing cost. You have your target, which is the international sales division. And how are you going to allocate? You need a fixed amount. So you can be able to automate this process. So if you know every period, this amount or a particular amount is posted to a particular account for marketing costs, for instance, and you know this is supposed to be allocated to international sales division, you can automate the process instead of doing that manually. Let's say, for instance, you want to allocate 30% of marketing costs to sales. So in this case, you are using a percentage, and you are taking the 30% of the costs that were posted to the marketing, and this is supposed to be allocated to the sales. So here you are using a fixed percentage. Also, you can be able to allocate a proportion of office costs to sales according to the ratio of sales department floor space to the office total space. So in that case, we are now dealing with the ratios. So corporate allocation has a variety of ways you can be able to generate transactions. So as you can see, you can either use a fixed amount, you can either use a percentage, and of course, you can also use ratio. So this gives you a variety of ways you can be able to generate transactions from the system to make your work easier. So I believe we can be able to all see that. And the ratio can also be expressed as a fixed amount, like I've said, relative percentage, and also you can use any statistical or financial values that you are posted in your ledgers. When you talk of the statistical values, you can always enter that in SunSystems using the memo accounts. So when you are doing the corporate allocations, or when you are running corporate allocations, it's very easy to understand how to be able to come up with one or to set up one. So there are two main types of allocations. So we have a charge and we have a split. So corporate allocations performs these allocations according to either whether it's set up as a charge or as a split. For a charge allocation, it selects the transactions to be allocated, that is on the allocation source accounts, then calculates the amount to be allocated to be able to generate the transactions, and then it posts the resulting allocation transaction to selected target accounts without affecting the original source account. So when you are talking about allocation charge, it means in this case, you want to generate transactions from a particular account and post to another account without affecting the source accounts or the source transactions. For a split, it does the other way around. So here, apart from just generating new transactions that you are going to post to a target account, you also reverse the transactions that were in the source account. So you reverse and then you generate new transactions that you post to target accounts. So in corporate allocation, you'll see we normally use a function called corporate allocation run when you're running an allocation. So this is set up in the system. The function is available. That is if you are serialized to use corporate allocation by Infor. So the functions will be there. You can be able to use those functions to set up your allocation. And when you are running, use the corporate allocation run, or CAL in short, to perform an allocation. And this one, it will be based on the details that have been defined in the allocation setup. So you'll have a setup where you define the rules, how you want to select transactions, the calculations you want to perform using, of course, memo accounts, and thereafter, after generating transactions, where do you want them to be posted? So that has to be set up before you can be able to run your allocation. So you'll come up with a setup code that you'll be using to run whenever needed. So the allocation run process will validate the allocation rule details. So as you run that, it has to meet all the rules or the criteria that has been defined. At the end of every run, there will be a report. Whether you have chosen to post your transactions direct to general ledger, or maybe you have decided first to just check what transactions are going to be generated from the system, there will be a report that you see first. This report will list the allocations that will be made and to indicate if there is any error that is found during the processing. So if there is an error in the process, you can be able to correct that error before you. Remember, when you're posting the general ledger, you will want your transactions to be posted the way you want them. That is, they must be balancing, the correct accounts, the correct analysis. So you have to monitor that, and the system gives you that opportunity by first allowing you to validate your setup, the rules that have been defined for your corporate allocation. The transactions that are generated by allocation are posted by ledger import. And of course, can be either real time, or you can decide, I want to post these transactions ledger. So using the function ledger import, which is also in SunSystems, you can be able to decide to post automatically, or you can decide to post later when you are ready. But you can generate the transactions and just, awaiting now the time when you want to post them into the general ledger. So as I said, when you post these transactions, there is that report that is produced, and that report can be customized in a way that it meets, some of these reports. Before you post, maybe you have to go through a series of approvals. That is your head of department or your finance officer. Maybe they need to approve. They need to know exactly what is going to be posted to general ledger. So this report is very important. You can customize it according to organization, logo, colors, so that now you have a good report that you can present. The transactions that are posted can be consolidated, so that you don't have so many, a big journal being posted in the system. You can consolidate the transactions according to a predefined criteria that you'd want, or you can decide to just leave all the generated transactions to be posted as they are to the system. You can retain some of the information from the source transactions if you want. Yeah, and as I said earlier, there's that report that comes that enables you to check for any errors that are made while you are doing the corporate allocation run. So here we are going to have two scenarios. These two scenarios will help us to have a demo, that will give us a brief view in case you want to run an allocation. Once it has been set up, you'll see it is very easy. Once everything has been set up in the system, it is very easy to be able to run this within a few minutes. As you compare, instead of going to general ledger direct to post a journal, or maybe going to Q&A if there are several transactions that you want to generate and post to the system. So when this is defined, it will be very easy. You want to first see a scenario where you have a budget that has been posted to the advertising account. And from this budget in the actuals for this particular period, your current period in the SunSystems, you want to generate a budget for the following period. But now for the budget that you are generating, you also want to allocate across different cost centers. So in this scenario, we are going to see if you want to allocate across corporate sales department, that is 50%. enterprise sales department 30%, and general sales 20%. That will be our first scenario. So I'll just go to SunSystems. In SunSystems, if I take my monitor, session monitor here, I'm not mapped to any business unit. I have several business units. So first I go to the business unit that I want. That's where I'm going to do the demo. That is in PK1. Then you can see I'm under the favorites tab. So under the favorites, I put the functions that I use all the time. In this case, corporate allocation is my main function. So before I go to the corporate allocation run, I just want to show you the transactions that you want to select in the account code for the advertising. In this account code, from account allocation, we have posted an amount of 5,115 GBP, but in the current period. The current period here is period 9 of 2005. So I want to see what I've posted in period 9 of 2005 in this account, and that's what I want to allocate. So as you can see, I want to allocate this cost in the advertising account, that is 5,115 pounds. I want to allocate the same across the three departments. That the corporate sales department, that should get about 50%, enterprise should get 30%, and general sales should get 20% of that amount. And I want to post that to the following period. That is, this will be my budget for the next period. That's period 10. So once the setup, the rules have been defined in the system, we'll have a setup code that we're going to use to run. So when you go to corporate allocation run, as you can see in that window, the form opens with a few selections that you need to make before you can be able to generate the transactions. It begins with the code. That is your setup code. So after your allocation is defined, there'll be a code that will be provided to you. So in this code, for my case here, my code is defined as ADV. Once you put your code, as I said earlier, you can be able to have different steps or sequences when you are running your allocation. You can have several steps defined. Maybe the first step generates transactions. The second step to generate other transactions based on other criteria. So you can have several steps defined in your allocation. So you'll provide the sequence number or the step that you want to run, in this case here. So for me, I only have one step or sequence. So if you leave, that is, if you don't specify the sequence number, it means whatever is set up, everything will be able to run. But if you specify, then whatever you specify is the one that is going to run. So in this case, I just want to leave because I only have one step there or one sequence. My period, I want to generate the budget for this following period, period 10. So that means I'm basing on, from the current period, I want to generate transactions for the next period. The way I've defined it, I just leave that. If you click on enter, you see the current period appears there. As I said earlier, SunSystems gives you that option to be able to decide whether you want to post the transaction generated automatically or you want to validate first. So whenever you do a setup for corporate allocation, first you have to validate it just to be sure that whatever is generated is correct or meets your criteria before deposit of the system. If in your ledger setup you have set post provisional as optional, you'll also have that option here. You can decide you want to post whatever you process, you want to post provisional or not. Then this feature here, allow balancing transactions, helps now users, those who are running corporate allocation setups, to decide whether they want the system to generate balancing transactions. Remember, the transactions that are balancing, you are performing some calculations in one or another, maybe due to the different currencies you have set up in your environment. You might be having an environment with the multi-currency setup. So you can be able to define or to allow the system to generate for you transactions that are balancing. So here you can set it as never, or you can decide to give the system that option of generating balancing transactions. So I want it to generate balancing transactions so that my journal balances and is able to post. If it doesn't balance, it means you'll not be able to post an incomplete journal into the general ledger, as we all know, those who use SunSystems. When you provide your suspense account, that is in case there is any transactions that are generated in the process, this transaction can be posted in that suspense account that you have provided. You can decide to summarize the transactions that are going to be generated. So if you decide to summarize, you choose yes. If you don't want to summarize, leave us no. So I want to see everything. And then, as I said, you define a document format that will define the report that you want to use in your allocation. So I've defined one, that is the code of that document format. Then you click OK, it's like you have saved now. So at this stage now, we are ready now to generate the transactions. So I click on print and OK. Remember, I chose validate. So if I choose validate, I expect to see a report just showing me exactly what I'll get in case I post this transaction that I generated. So in this report, the report is very clear. It is showing you your allocation sequence. As I said earlier, I only have one sequence or set a stage or step. That is sequence 1. And then I have the ratio basis. It will also show you the ratio there. The description of that account, it's advertising budget. So you can see the target transactions. The target transaction are going to period 10 of 2005. But now these transactions have been split according to the ratios that we saw. So the 5,115 GBP is split according to the ratio 50, 30, 20 for the different cost centers that we saw earlier. So you can see the analysis because you want to post based on this analysis so that when you will be doing your budget check in the SunSystems or reports, you can reference this analysis just to ensure that you don't spend beyond the budget. So the analysis codes are well clear, defined. The first one is analysis code 11, the other one is 12, the other one is 13. Of course, in your setup, you'll have a genotype that you have chosen to be used in the process. So mine is that one, XCHG, that's the genotype I've defined. Yeah, and you can see that figure. If you total this 2,557.5 plus 1,534.5 plus 1,023, all will come to 5,115, which is the amount from the advertising account that we have selected. And we said when you are doing a charge, I've set this as a charge, you'll have the target offset transaction. So there's no source reversal transactions. This is the offset that I've defined in my setup, because remember, we want to generate a journal that is balancing. So these are the debits and these are the credits that will go to the account 999. So this journal is balancing. Another thing to note here is that the business unit, I was generating from the actuals, the 5,000, which is posted to that advertising account. But now I want to post to the ledger B. So you can see it is for budget. So these 6 transactions are going to budget B. And it is showing me clearly that I'm only validating. That's why I've not seen any journal. So now I want to post this. If I go to copy allocation run, my setup code, I leave the period. This time around, instead of validating, I want to post. If no error, so I don't want to post provisionally. I generate balancing transactions. I put my suspense account. I don't want to summarize, and I put my document format code. So once you have defined this, it will be very easy. You just run at once without wasting any time. So this time around, I've chosen post if no error. So let's see. So expect the reports. As I said earlier, when you run, you must get the allocation report and also, and of course, any other report that you have defined. So in my system, it is set up in such a way that whenever a journal is generated, the journal also has to pop up. So the first report is showing us, it's similar to the one we got when we validated, showing us the transactions that are generated. But I have another report here, and it's giving me this is a journal detail listing report. So you can see in this report, there's a journal number. So that means I've posted to the general ledger. These are the transactions. The accounting period is period 10 of 2005. That's the journal type. When you post using the system, the journal source automatically will be based on the function that you are using to post or to generate the transactions and post to the system. In this case, this is allocation, so the journal source will be alloc. And these are system generated journal. So once you have posted, you might not be able to reverse, though if you post provisionally, you can be able to amend. Then those lines that we saw in the report are here. So you can see all of them are generated here. And your journal is balancing. The debits and credits totals, they are equal. So in this case, this journal is, let me just check in the system. So if I go to change budget, I go to budget B. So I want to choose accounting period. I posted to period 10 of 2005. So there are several journals there. So if you noted your journal number, you can be able to inquire direct that journal number from the system if you noted it down. So my date today is 16. So this is the journal number or the transactions that are posted to the ledger B, period 10. So I want to go to another scenario. Our second scenario here, you have a scenario where an audit was conducted in an organization of internal procedures to assess the ISO 9000 compliance. So 3 departments were audited. You have the post room, you have the reseller sales, and the direct sales team. So the cost of this audit need to be apportioned initially across the 3 departments affected. And this has been agreed to be allocated on the basis of the number of auditing hours spent in each department. So if in post room, you spend 4 hours to do the audit, for reseller sales, 10 hours, direct sales, 6 hours. So the invoice posted for audit or to the audit account will have one figure. It's like a total. But remember, it's supposed to be applied across the 3 departments. And then there is another situation here. You're told, however, the post room is a provider of services to the direct sales and reseller sales departments. And every cost of the post room needs to be allocated to the 2 sales departments on a basis of 60-40. Yeah. So in this case, so we have 2 stages that we are going to define, or sequences in the allocation. So allocation will have the first stage after this amount has been posted, the invoice has been posted to the audit cost center in your SunSystems. So you want to select that invoice, the amount, and reallocate it to the 3 departments or cost centers. That's the post mail room, the reseller, and the direct sales. And thereafter, whatever goes to the post mail room has to be reallocated again. So that's another sequence. So we'll have sequence 1 and sequence 2. The first sequence, generate transactions and post to the 3 cost centers. The second sequence picks the amount that went to post room department and generate those transactions, that is on the basis of 60/40, and post to the two sales departments. That's the reseller and direct sales. So in SunSystems, you'll be able to set up that, the rules, you define everything, and you'll have a setup code that we're going to use to run. So if I go back to SunSystems, just want to go back to the actuals. Remember, I'd changed to budget. So in account allocation, my account for audit here is 35800. So I've posted an invoice in period 1 of 2005. So this invoice amounts to 5,000 pounds. And you can see it is analyzed by the department for audit. But now we are seeing that this has to be reallocated to 3 departments. Maybe to see this clearly, as I said, we have the the 2 stages. The first stage, we'll allocate on the basis of the 10:4:6 ratio, this 5,000 amount, and then whatever goes to post room also has to be reallocated to reseller and sales. So that invoice, when I go to corporate allocation run and put my setup code, I said I have 2 steps. Find period is period 1 of 2005. So I'll first want to validate. I want to see the transactions that are going to be generated. This is the report you can be able to share out. So remember, the first sequence provides transaction for the next sequence. So in our report here, the corporate allocation run report, I've generated the transactions. I can see the target transactions and target offset transactions. So the target transactions, I can see we wanted the post room to have 4 out of 14. That is as a total of the ratio. The reseller 10 out of 14 and direct 6 out of 14. So if you calculate that, you apply that to the 5,000 amount, you'll get 1,500. That's for the direct sales. You get 1,000 to the post room, and you have the 2,500 to the reseller sales. Seller gets the largest. 10 hours was spent to audit the reseller sales cost center department. So it gets the largest share of 2,500. So apart from the target transactions, we also have here source transactions. So we had an amount of 5,000. The invoice was 5,000. So you can see this is now like reversing that amount. So to the audit account, we have the 5,000 credit posted there. So it is reversing the amount that was initially posted. And then this is the target offset transactions. So in this scenario here, everything will remain in balance. The suspense account, as you can see, it will remain in balance. You'll have a balance of 0, but now you'll have splitted your costs across the 3 cost centers. This is for sequence 1 on the ratio total of 20. Now, these 8 transactions that are generated, this is only validated. I didn't choose post. That's why there is no journal number popping up. But we have allocation sequence 2 here, and we are seeing an error. An error is no data found for this source request. So the system, the way I've defined, we have the first step and the second step, or the first sequence and second sequence. So the second sequence depends on the first sequence. I didn't post these transactions. I've only viewed what is going to be generated. So when the second sequence checks and finds there is no transaction posted to PR yet, the post room, then there'll be no transactions that are going to be generated there. That's why you are saying there is no. So I want to post this time around, then we see what we get. So I'll put my setup code, my sequences 1 to 2. This period 1 of 2005. This time around, I want to post. If no error, I generate balancing transactions, and I put my document format. So let's see what we get. So there are several reports. Like I said, you always have the report from the corporate allocation run. So the same report now is appearing differently. We saw these transactions for the target offset, and the source transactions that are reversing the initial amount. But we also have, apart from sequence 1, sequence 2 now has transactions, because the first stage posted a journal to the post room cost center. So now that value, which is 1,000, has again been splitted. That is 600 to direct sales, 400 to reseller sales, as you can see. So since I posted the first step, those transactions were used now to generate transactions for the next step, as you can see there. These steps are defined independently but brought together in your setup. You can see the accounts are different. Apart from the initial transaction going to reverse the transaction in the audit account and reallocating those transactions, for the target transactions, whatever is going to the other sales department, they are going to this account, cost of sales. That's how I've set up. You can set up, and select any account that you want. And these are the journals. So we have the journals here. So these two journals, like this is 879, journal number 879. So you can see the same transactions. This one has the reversal transactions. You are reversing the transaction in the audit. That's the crediting audit account. Then you have the 3 generated that are going to the different cost centers. That's the post room, the reseller, and direct sales, as we saw. And we have the offset transactions. That is for the one of the sequences. So the other sequence, the transactions, this journal number 880. So these are the transactions generated. We are reversing that amount that has gone to post room. We saw the post room provides services to the 2 departments, reseller and direct sales. So this amount first is reversed and thereafter reallocated. That is 600 going to the direct and 400 going to the reseller. Your journal is balancing. That's why it has posted the general ledger. If it wasn't balancing, then you could get an error also that maybe because of a few criteria that have not been met, or because of an imbalance, if the figures are not balancing, the journal cannot go to general ledger. So you have to go and correct in ledger import. So that's how you use corporate. You can see I only took around 1 minute to process, and my reports were there. As simple as that, instead of going to general ledger to do that. So you can be able to use this corporate allocation tool to be able to make your work easier when it comes to generating transactions from those that are existing, so that your performance management, you can be able to assess different departments, you can reallocate these costs and reassign them and be able to report to them, on them appropriately in your organization. So at this juncture, I just want to welcome Mr. Levi to take us through the next session. Thank you. Levi.
Thank you so much, Wycliffe, for the great presentation. It's now time for question and answers. Please feel free just to to use the tap icon for raising the hand, or on the chat section you can able to post your question, and we are going to respond on the same. So please, if you got any question, please feel free just to be able to raise that question, and we are going to get back to you. Yeah, from the comment section, I've seen Ali. Of course, he just said a greeting to us, and also Ephraim. You had asked about SunSystems, if it's available on cloud, and my colleague Rogers responded to that accordingly. So please feel free. If you got any question, please let us know, and we are going to get back to you. Any question or any feedback that you have concerning the topic of today's webinar, please feel free just to air it out. Yeah, from the chat section. Okay, I can see Mr. Chanda Mlenga. You're saying good morning all. Of course, you said you're sorry that you came a little bit late because of the challenges that you experienced in joining in. Just like a brief summary of the webinar, if it's possible. Yeah, so what you are going to do, you can be able to, we'll be uploading this presentation on our YouTube channel. You can just be able to visit our YouTube channel, and also just to view the presentation of today's webinar. And I believe it's going to be of help to you. Martin also raising the same. We'll be uploading this presentation on YouTube channel from tomorrow. You can be able to access it, and you can be able to follow the same. F. Mutisia, thank you so much for the feedback about the presentation being insightful. We really appreciate. Ephraim, I've seen you also have another question. Is there an environment as a demo one can access? I think you're implying to SunSystem version 7. Yeah, we'll get back to you. We have your details. We are going to get back to you as far as that is concerned. So please feel free. You got any question where you need some clarity, you can tap the icon for raising the hand, or you can also post the same question on the comment section, and we are going to respond the same. Right. If we don't have any other question, I think we can proceed to the next item, where we are going to just let you know about our upcoming events that we have in store for you, so that you can be aware. We have our next upcoming events next month on Saturday, 16th of March. We'll be having a webinar. Of course, it's a free online webinar, and the topic that you are going to handle is keeping track of your assets with Infor SunSystems. So please, next month, 16th of March, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. East African time, we'll be having a webinar on the same, and we will be sending more communication via email addresses and also via social media platform. So whenever you get a link, please register so that you can be able to benefit from these webinars. Our next upcoming event from the month of May, that is on 15th to 19th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. East African time. We'll be having a training on Infor SunSystems that will be done online. Yeah, also we'll be sharing more communication on that. This will get opportunity for you to be taken through the system so that you can appreciate and also you can work effectively. So please, you can prepare yourself. We'll be sending more communication on that training. So at this juncture, I want to say a big thank you to all of us for joining into our webinar today. On behalf of our CEO, Madam Mariam, and also our technical advisor, Mr. Isa Munyendo, we want to express our gratitude unto you for joining into our webinar today. And also for all our clients who've taken time just to log into webinar today, we just want to say thank you so much. And also our prospects who are here just to learn so that we can be able to make a decision. We also want to say thank you so much for joining in. And also the FLAGSM staff for working with us to make this possible. We just want to appreciate you. And at this juncture, I want to wish all of us a good day ahead. Let's meet once again next month, such a date for the upcoming webinar. And we pray that you are going to keep safe and looking forward to having you in the next webinar. Otherwise, have a great day ahead.
Bye. Have a good as well.